A quick note before we start. This video covers the history of alcohol and other substances. It is educational, not a guide, and some of it gets heavy. There are no instructions here, only history, because this is one of the oldest stories we have. For as long as there have been humans looking for an escape. And here is the strange part. Over thousands of years, we did not just keep using these things, we kept making them stronger. This is the story of how that happened. Let's go back, way back, 13,000 years. Long before cities, before writing, before farming. In a cave in what is now Israel, a group of hunter-gatherers left something behind. Traces of beer, the oldest evidence of alcohol humans have ever found. And here is the twist. It was at a burial site. They were brewing it for rituals, for the dead. Now, this was not strong stuff. It was cloudy, sour, and weak, a few percent at most. Basically, ancient, lumpy backwash. But people loved it. In fact, some scientists think the urge to brew is part of why humans started farming grain at all. Let that sink in. We may have built civilization, partly because we wanted a drink. Around 9,000 years ago in China, people were fermenting rice, honey, and fruit. All over the world, the same idea kept appearing. Leave something sweet out long enough, and nature hands you alcohol. For thousands of years, this was the ceiling. Weak, natural, fermented drinks. You physically could not get much stronger than that. And then, we figured out how. About 1,000 years ago, everything changed. People learned to distill. The idea is simple to describe. Concentrate a fermented drink and you boost its strength. Suddenly, a drink that was 5% could become 40% or more. This was the first big jump in power. For the first time, the strength was not limited by nature. It was limited only by us. Spirits spread across the world, and with them came something new. Not just celebration, but serious harm. Stronger drink meant stronger consequences. And this becomes the pattern for the entire rest of the story. Every time we make it stronger, the danger grows right alongside it. Now jump to about 500 years ago. The world's continents connected through exploration and trade, and substances that had stayed local for centuries suddenly went global. Tobacco had been used in the Americas for thousands of years. Within decades, it was everywhere. It was sold as relaxing, even absurdly as healthy. It took centuries to accept the truth, that it is one of the most addictive and deadly habits there is. Around the same time, coffee swept the world. Caffeine, the gentlest of the bunch, quietly became the most used drug on the planet. You probably had a dose this morning. So far, this is still the tame chapter, because the next leap is a much bigger one. Until now, humans used whole plants and brewed drinks, messy, diluted, mixed in with everything else in the plant. But in the early 1800s, science changed the game. Chemists learned to pull the single active ingredient out of a plant, to isolate it pure. The first great example came from the opium poppy, a plant used for pain and sleep for thousands of years. In the early 1800s, a chemist isolated its core compound. He named it after the god of dreams, morphine. It was a genuine medical breakthrough for pain. It was also far more powerful than anything before it, and far easier to become dependent on. Then it happened again, with another plant, from the coca leaf, long chewed in the Andes. Chemists isolated cocaine in the 1850s. At first, it too was sold as a wonder cure, slipped into tonics, medicines, even drinks. Nobody yet understood what they were dealing with. This is the third great leap, from whole plants to concentrated, isolated, far more dangerous compounds, and the human cost was devastating. To be clear, these are real substances that ruin real lives. We are looking at the history, not endorsing any of it. You might expect that people grew more careful. For a while, the opposite happened. In the late 1800s, chemists altered morphine into something even stronger. A company sold it as a new supposedly safer medicine. It was called heroin. For a time, it was even marketed as a cough remedy. We now know it as one of the most destructive drugs in history. The same mistake on repeat. Make it stronger. Sell it as safe. Discover the damage far too late. Then came the 20th century and a new frontier. Now we did not even need a plant to start from. In a lab, chemists could build stimulants from scratch. Fully synthetic ones. Amphetamines. They were handed out widely, even to soldiers to stay awake. A stronger lab-made cousin would later fuel terrible addiction crises. We had crossed a final line, from nature to refined nature to pure invention, which brings us to today, and the most dangerous chapter yet. In 1959, a synthetic painkiller was created, many times more powerful than morphine. Used carefully in medicine, it has real value. Misused, it is lethal in astonishingly tiny amounts. Its name has become tied to a modern crisis that takes a staggering number of lives every single year. Fentanyl. Now look at the whole arc for a moment. 13,000 years ago, weak, cloudy beer. Today, a compound so strong that a few grains can kill. That is the trajectory of this entire story. At every step, we made the escape more powerful, and the danger climbed right with it. So why do we keep chasing this? The answer is in the brain. All of these substances, in their own ways, hijack the same reward system. The system built to reward food, water, and connection. They flood it with a signal that simply says, more. The stronger the substance, the louder that signal, and the harder it is to switch off. Our ancient brains were never designed for the things our modern labs can now make. That mismatch is the heart of the whole problem. It is why every society in history has eventually had to build rules around these substances. Not just to spoil the fun, but because each leap in strength raised the stakes. And here is the honest part. Addiction is not a joke, and it is not weakness. It is a real health condition that affects millions of people, and everyone who loves them. If that includes you, or someone you know, support exists, and reaching for it is a strong thing to do. The human urge to escape is ancient. It is not going away. But understanding this story is how we live with that urge, instead of being ruled by it. We have been doing this for 13,000 years. Maybe the next chapter is the one where we finally understand it. Thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves.